The All Black podcast is powered by our official cloud software partner, SAP, helping our teams in black become the best run teams in sport. To listen to this episode and all the All Black podcasts, subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and anywhere you get your podcasts. This is the All Blacks podcast.
Kia ora whanau, welcome to the All Black podcast powered by SAP. World Cup is starting to get to the business end with quarterfinals this weekend, and the All Blacks are playing the world's number one side, Ireland. To get a feel for the tournament, how it is building, the atmosphere on the ground, we welcome to the podcast George Bower and Stacey Waaka, hosts of the Front Row Daily Show, which you will find on New Zealand Rugby's new free streaming service NZR+. Firstly, 21 Test, All Black George Bower. You have probably been there now, I don't know mate, 5, 6, 7 weeks. Like, how are you holding up on the road? Are you a good tourist?
It's been a long time since that first game. I am getting sick of the pastries and the coffee now, and all the food here. Not really, but no, it's been an awesome journey so far, and we're coming to the business end of it now. But I've learned so much, and I've met so many people, and built a good relationship with my mate Analyse, and obviously meeting Stacey Waaka for the first time as well. So,
Mate, totally, and like that's. I mean, are you being polite? Because halfbacks have a massive reputation for being pests, like being niggly. Like, we all know that. Like, but so you and Andy are still mates. You're bonding. Like, you don't need separate rooms in the second half of the tour.
The first couple of weeks we're having dinner together every night. Now I probably haven't had dinner with them in since last week, kind of thing. So
a true relationship.
No.
That's being nice. He wasn't saying that just before.
Stace, Blackfern Sevens, 2-time Rugby World Cup winner, gold medal winner. But more recently, you've just arrived, and what's sort of the KPIs? Is it to add a bit of fizz and a bit of class to this operation? Like, what sort of nick are the boys in? Like, are they? Can you work with them?
Absolutely. No, I like to think that Andy is, the talkative one. You agree with me? He's the loud halfback. I feel like Gio's a little bit more quiet. He just goes about his work, and I reckon I sit right in the middle. I can be a bit of both. Just got to bring a different element. And I know I've got a big voice, but still trying to find my feet a little bit with the boys, but it's going good so far.
And we're in good nick as well, eh?
We definitely are. We've been training together under the Eiffel Tower, but where's Andy? Where's Andy when we need him?
Mate, he's embracing the former player tag. Like, guys, we're the Front Row Daily Show. It's on NZR+. Like, how did you guys get roped into being on the mic and fronting this show? Like, how did that come about?
I think they needed pretty faces. Hey.
Absolutely.
How did you get asked,
Well, Rick said he listened to a podcast that was on, and he said, "Oh, mate, you're absolutely brilliant, and you're made for this." But now knowing Rick, I'm like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, same. Random text from Rick, but I knew he had a mutual friend from Māori TV, obviously done a bit of work in Mahi, doing the sports presenting there, so real grateful. I feel like it's similar vibes. It's all about, having fun. Yeah, it's about rugby, but it's also about off-field things and those interactions, so it's going good.
Mate, totally, because, I mean, George, you'd obviously love to be out on the field with the boys playing, but you're going through a knee rehab. First, just talk us a little bit around how that happened, what your progress is, because I've heard probably on the same podcast that Rick heard, I heard you talk a little bit about, you've got to see everything as an opportunity, so trying to, perhaps learn some new skills, bit of cooking perhaps, but even getting in front of the mic, and maybe when it boils down to it, Sevu Reece just probably kicked you out of the house, did he, in the end, as your landlord?
Yeah, it's been, I guess 5 months since I've had my surgery, and it happened in gameplay midway through Super Rugby. So, I was pretty gutted that, I was kind of missing out on a possible World Cup squad kind of thing. But, what I've learned really quickly was other things kind of, there's everything happens for a reason. And other opportunities come, and this is one of them. And so when I found out I was able to come to this, I was like, it's the next best thing. We'll still get to be around the boys. We still get to experience a World Cup, not play, but still be there and support the boys. And when I found out, I was like, yep, book my flight straight away. It's cool to be there. But I'm just picking up so many new skills, and just putting them in my back pocket for, possibly maybe life after footy, or just skills to have kind of thing. And I've learned so much, and I'm still learning a lot as well. So I'd love to be on the rugby field though, but unfortunately the time is not yet. So
Rob, I don't know if you know, he's now the new mayor of the zone. he's best mates with him. He's the king of it. So great connections, I feel like he's made.
Yeah, so if you ever head to Lyon one day later on, just let me know and I'll you up, man.
Mate, absolutely. I absolutely will. And mate, congrats. I think you've re-signed for a couple more years with New Zealand Rugby and the Crusaders as well, haven't you? So are we on target to be starting the season proper round one, or maybe a little bit longer, or just see how it goes? Because it's new times down in Christchurch as well, with Razor moving on and a new coach, and that's really exciting. Yeah,
it is exciting. Rob Penny starting off, and he's going to bring his own little flavour and his own taste. But I should be ready for round one. Hopefully ready for Crusaders. We've got 2 pre-seasons in,
awesome,
in Ireland and the UK, or England. So hopefully ready for that as well. And I'm getting itchy feet. So
and he's training. He's still training.
Yeah, she's training. She's training.
Inputs and outputs. Got to get it right with the pastry. Yeah. Stace, but you, as I said, just I'm not going to make you tell the story, mate, about when you put on the weight and did no running. We can wait that for another podcast. We'll leave that for another time. You've learnt your lessons, no doubt. But as I said, Stace, just as we're getting ready to jump on, like, you just seem to be involved in so many different teams, like whether it's, sevens, 15s, overseas, different competitions, because, the female game has got so many like awesome new opportunities at the moment. Where have you come from and what are you up to? Like what are we transitioning on this little side hustle?
Yeah, I can hardly keep up with myself, to be honest. Like, where have I been last month? Oh, that's right. But it was a really cool transition after the World Cup last year back into the Sevens World Series. We probably had our best season, which was quite cool. And I didn't want it to finish, so decided to go to America, play in the PR Sevens for 2 months, living the dream. I think I got to 10 states in 8 weeks. So it was cool experience. Definitely met some cool people and different, learnings. Rugby obviously very different over there, but it was pretty cool to interact with different people because we trained with the same people every day. Needed a bit of a change. Loved it. Came back home, bit of a pre-season. Now I'm back with the Sevens. We were in Fiji last couple of weeks ago. A few different games over there, not quite where we need to be results wise, but it's all good. We don't need a peak just yet. Olympics is 8 months away, so we're still building. Obviously here for a couple of weeks with my mate over here, lapping it up, loving it, love being on this side of the arena at a men's World Cup. Like, what a dream. I never thought in a million years I'd be working here with the boys, and it's been so cool so far. But I'll head back into Sevens before the World Series kicks off, and then the Olympics next July. Back here in Paris. How good.
Like, ask you about that, guys, because, I sit here back in New Zealand, I get my little notification in the morning and I see the end product, and it looks pretty good. I've really enjoyed it, especially in the sense, like you say, bit of footy, bit of banter, talk to also the other teams, supporters, people in the town, the Mayor of Leon, George's new best friend. But there's, how's that been? Like, is it a bit nerve-wracking, the new challenge, or, like compared to footy? Like, because I know myself sometimes when you get asked to do things like this where you're a little bit out of your comfort zone, you're like, ooh, the old heart starts to race a little bit. How's it been?
Well, my first ever kind of segment on Front Row Show was Voxy Pop, so I was just asking randoms at the Louvre about asking them who's playing this weekend, who's playing in the World Cup opener, and no one had a clue, and I was like, whoa, it's hard. And then Rick gave me a bit of advice, and he was like, you'll probably never see these people again, so just act like and so that kind of helped me, and that was my mindset. Kind of after that was just I'd probably never see anyone that
it's not Christchurch, so
yeah. So I kind of was able to be comfortable and kind of get out of my shell and really kind of just be natural in front of the camera. And but even at times though, I still get a bit nervous and I have to kind of boost myself up with a bit of energy and a bit of passion and a bit of footwork. But yeah.
I love that it's not too scripted. Like Rick's real cool to work like as a producer. He's just
Is he there somewhere? It must be there somewhere, is he? Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably watching us. He always watches us.
Totally.
It's nerve-wracking. I feel like anything's nerve-wracking when you're putting yourself out there and people are going to judge you no matter what. But ultimately, I feel like if we're having fun and we're doing our job the way the producers want us to do it, then it's all good. So different experience. Much rather be on the footy field, but it's all good. This is cool learning, cool opportunity, and probably see myself in the space post my rugby career. Yeah,
there it is. There it is. And Georgie, what about though? Like it is pretty cash and that comes through, but every now and again you've been asked to go into the old press conference where the serious journalists and rugby correspondents are, and you go wandering in, asked a couple of questions. It looked like. And then you didn't ask a question at the last one, brother. You just let it flow.
Yeah. So was that yesterday's episode? Yeah. I've watched it. Don't worry. Well, I kind of building up to throughout all the pool stages, I would go and ask a question, and every time the boys would walk in, they'd be quite serious, and then until they see my face, and you'd see them kind of crack and smile, and, a bit more relaxed, which is, I guess, the whole purpose of it, because it's quite intimidating going into those big press conferences and so many people just asking questions. But yesterday I knew the boys were dialed in and locked in, and it's business time. So I just chilled there in the back and just listened to everyone. But there was a moment when there was a guy in front of me, and he was asking Rico Ioane a question. I don't know if it wasn't on the video, and so I was sitting directly behind the guy asking the question. And Rico had answered their question and was still looking towards a direction. And then all of a sudden he sees my head pop out behind the guy, and he cracks his serious and he just starts smiling, and he almost like starts laughing. And he's trying to hold it in. And I'm almost start laughing, and everyone's in a serious mode. And it's like, they didn't catch it on camera, but it's just little moments like that in a precedence. So, quite cool to see, quite crack up.
Mine was different. I went to South Africa, France's press conference yesterday, and Russ, man, he can talk, but he had a bit of humour. So I was actually quite scared going into it. I was like, okay, I know this is quarterfinals. It's going to be really serious. You need to just don't ask too many questions, because I will be that person. But he was actually quite cool. It was actually quite cool experience for me too, to be on the side and not ask the questions.
It's awesome. And I mean, Russie's a one-man PR machine, isn't he? He's in the press conference, then he's tweeting, then he's hooting back around. He's all go. So very cool for you guys to see that side of it, though. Like, we're halfway, well, perhaps more than halfway in, and you've been there for different amounts of time. We got some tour highlights, best locations, things that maybe have hit the cutting room floor. It seems like an awesome vibe. Like the stuff you're capturing seems like that common language and community of rugby is hissing. Like, everyone's getting along like a house on fire.
You've been everywhere, Jordan. Surely you've got a highlight.
I've actually got a few there, but I quite like my a little vineyard kind of segment when Andy and I went to the vineyard in Santa Millions and spent time there with the pickers and kind of got to experience, the real how to make wine and things like that, and that was pretty cool. And it was just perfect that it was raining, and just the scenes were absolutely atrocious, but it kind of all added to the vibe. And then after that, we shared an awesome lunch with the pickers and got to get to know them, and we were jamming in their tent with a guitar. And there was another guy called Rasta Pat, and he had his guitar, and these guys just do that for the harvest. And they get free lunches and they drink free wine, and it's like, man, it was pretty cool. And it's pretty awesome seeing, the process of how to make a good wine. I don't, now I'm starting to, get into my wines, which is just because of that trip. But that's probably one of the mini highlights for me. I've got so many more, but I can keep going and going.
I was a little bit jealous that I didn't get to come a little bit earlier, but it's all good. Still having fun. Highlight for me, probably my interview with Sene the other day, we went to this amazing hotel. It's new. It was only built in Feb, I think, this year. You literally had 360 views of all of Paris. You could see every single attraction. Beautiful day. Like, you couldn't have got a much better setting to talk to someone about code and about rugby. So yeah, that was quite cool. And it was someone I knew. Like, it's quite cool talking to people you're familiar with and just it was a vibe. So that was quite cool.
It seems like sort of every media outlet, every former rugby player that's ever played the game seems to be sort of in the area at the moment. But then what also seems quite cool is that everyone knows each other. Everyone's jumping on each other's shows. Everyone's having a yarn. Everyone's, happy to jump on and talk about all the different teams. So it seems like an awesome vibe. What's in the pipeline for the next few weeks? Obviously, massive weekend this weekend, which we'll chat about soon. But are you guys just perched up in Paris now, or is there going to be, a few other things to look out for on the Front Row Daily Show?
Yeah, I'm actually heading away next week. I have to go back to preseason, but obviously go to the All Blacks Irish game. I know it's going to be a wicked atmosphere. The French crowd is so nuts. It's just so different to back home. But we know that it's obviously getting to the serious end of the World Cup. So yeah, there'll be still a bit of fun and banter, but I feel like it will be a bit more serious. Yeah. George is here till the end.
Yeah, and I guess we've got an awesome kind of production team, and they always come up with awesome ideas and awesome people to interview, even if it's they're rugby or not rugby related. So there's always something to shoot every day. And you think, I have a day off today, or have a rest, and then you get a text, hey mate, I need you at this place at this time. I'm like, what? But I guess it's kind of just going to be about the hype of the games, the big games that we have coming up, and we'll be here right to the finals. And luckily I don't give the ideas for the shows because my ideas are no good. So
I was going to ask that, George. Do you and Andy and Stacey not get to sit down in the morning and do a bit of blue sky thinking and throw a few things on the whiteboard, or did you get one shot at that and the dream's over? They just tell you what you're doing now.
What to do, eh?
Yeah, I think I was one production meeting, and then they got rid of me.
You should see Andy though. You should see Andy behind the scenes. He's a bit of a singer. Hey George, what do you reckon? He can hold a tune.
Yeah, he can hold a note.
Maybe
hold a note.
He might join us and show us what it is. We're just talking about you, Andy. You want to show us a bit of?
Who are we talking to?
Well, hey, mate. G'day, mate. We're actually just saying that perhaps it's time for you to debut some tunes. George has been doing a lot of the musical elements, but
right on that note.
Nah, mate. We're more just trying to figure out whether you and George are still friends after sort of being the main two campaigners, or whether whether you're still having dinners together in the evening. Like where we're at on the sort of halfway through the trip.
Oh mate, he's such a cruisy, lovely guy. So we're kind of playing on a little bit of the fact that we've been together for 6 weeks non-stop, every breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But now, mate, we still love each other. He's so happy. Look at him. How can you?
Mate,
I think I annoy him a little bit.
Yeah.
But he never lets it show. He just keeps smiling and pats me on the bum, and away I go.
Mate, well, some of the frustrations that are coming through on the Daily Show, like it's hard to know whether you got Rick in the background trying to, sort of stage that a little bit. But there are times when you need directions in the van, or you're trying to map out the day. That it looks genuine to me, Andy. Those frustrations, to be honest. Well, that's what's coming through in the show.
Mate, I think one of the things we love about this show is that we're not presenters or actors or anything. Like what you see is so organic and rough. And the one thing Rick's great at is he doesn't even let us do second takes on stuff. We're like, no, please. And he's like, nah, that's it. We're like, oh, no. But I think that's the beauty of it. There's not many sort of shows that are out there that are as kind of clunky and organic as what we're doing, which I think is the fun thing about it.
Yeah.
You're doing a good job, and you've pulled out the Rolodex. It's been awesome to sort of whip in a bunch of other former players, people you've played with, even from other teams as well. I've loved that. I love sort of talking to guys on the other teams. But like for you guys, what's your first World Cup memories? Like we've got a massive weekend, but can you remember the first time you tuned in to the Rugby World Cup? I certainly can. It was the John Kirwan try, 87, a little bit of an older vintage perhaps than you guys, but can you remember your first memories of the first tournament and how that all marries up to, what you're doing today, covering it on a daily basis?
First of all, I've got to fly. I'm actually interviewing Tana Umanga down at the park
How good.
in like 15 minutes. So I've got to fly. But my early memories were that South African World Cup and just how the world kind of stopped.
Nelson
And
won.
watched
Yeah, totally.
like that. Yeah, all of that. That was for me. But hey,
Good.
mate, good to chat.
See you, mate.
Yes, guys later on. See ya.
What's your memory?
Your memory first.
When I think of World Cups, I just think of Jonah Lomu. Just think of him scoring tries left, right, centre. Actually heard inside story about him that he got dropped from some of the teams because his fitness wasn't too good. But I mean, when you're playing rugby like that, why do you need to be so fit, eh? I suppose that was the mentality back in the day. But yeah, that's definitely my one massive memory of the All Blacks is everything was about Jonah Lomu bunting everyone off, running down the sidelines, scoring tries every single time.
Boy, my earliest memory, far out. The one that still like haunts me to this day is obviously the Michalak forward pass. Man, I remember. I think I was in the family in the car with my family heading to church, and my dad played it on the radio, was playing the game, and that happened, and then the game ended, and I just sunk in my seat, and I was like, watery eyes. I was like in tears, man.
It's sad.
Yeah.
Like, you feel like you're part of it.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of how every New Zealander feels when a New Zealand team's competing. Like we're with them in heart, and we're supporting them no matter what kind of thing, and we care so much as well. And yeah, but then also Fiji making it to the quarterfinals as well, because it's both teams. So, for their first time, was that 2007, I think? Yeah. So
I was still in primary school.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was
Oh,
Awesome. And I mean, God, as it turns out, Jonah had a bad, liver, didn't he? So like that affected his performance. And God, imagine if he was running 100%. Like he ripped it up anyway, the first global superstar, and was probably running on about 60-70%. But what a legend! Like, okay, guys, like it is big quarterfinal weekend. You are around the team a little bit and around on the ground there in Paris. How are the boys looking? Obviously, from what you've been saying, George, pretty focused, pretty switched in. Seems like good indications we're going to have potentially a full complement of people to choose from, which that's huge. Like that's a massive part of having a good outcome is having a full squad to choose from.
yeah. You've been hanging out with the boys a bit. How's the vibe down there?
Yeah, no, vibe is very good. Yesterday I went to their training, and as I said, kind of they look so switched on and locked in, and you can just tell by the edge and the intensity they were training at. Usually when they train at that level, they're quite good when it comes to the weekend. They're quite clinical, but I kind of caught up with them after training as well, and just their ability to switch off as well, and kind of treated it as just another game as well was pretty awesome to see. And that's when the boys are ready to go. And I guess I've been with them for the past couple of weeks, and I can just just feel something really good about this team building up to this weekend. I can just feel connections are very strong, and there was just a good vibe and a good happiness in the team as well. The times I've been at their hotel pretty much every night, but so heading into this week, I'm feeling very confident. I don't know about the rest of the other people, but I've been there and I kind of know what it feels like. So yeah,
I think the thing is it's going to be tough for whoever the 23 is that's named. And I know everyone, like, obviously being in that kind of World Cup environment, I know it'll be intense and everyone's on edge about who's going to play. But at the end of the day, I feel like they're so strong, the brotherhood is so strong that they're going to have each other's back no matter who puts that jersey on. So as long as they get around each other, right, and they support them in every single capacity in any way, they're going to go well. It's going to be a good game.
I love that team. And what's a couple of things that you think are really to look out for the fans? Like, is there a couple of areas of the game or particularly things in the game that the boys need to get right that's going to help them, win this arm wrestle? Because it's going to be so good. Like, I think I almost want to ask you too, Stacey, like that crowd noise that you've noticed. Do you notice it when you're on the field? Like, you played a couple of huge games in New Zealand at the end of last year, and I was in the crowd, and we were making all sorts of noise. Like, or is it just a whole another kettle of fish over in Europe because they love to sing, they love to get noisy, love to get into it?
Yeah, I feel like it is different here. The home World Cup it's cool. Like your supporters, your family are in the crowd, so you bring this different energy, this different flow of privileged pressure. But the times I have played here in France, they're just absolutely nuts the whole time. Like it's like it seems a little bit disrespectful, but it's just their passion for the game, and you've just got to find a way to block it out. Like I've been told, go out there, walk out onto the field, embrace it, look around, see what's around you, but you have to flip that switch real quick when it's time to play. So yeah, it's going to be tough, and I know the crowd this weekend is going to be massive, but I suppose the one critical thing that I feel like in rugby is that set piece is the most important part of a game. And I always say, the backs are the better ones, but I know the front rowers can take that one. As long as, you get your scrums right, you get your lineouts right. I even think kickoffs, like if you don't catch that ball off a kickoff, like that can be detrimental to being put on the back foot. It's getting kicked into your red zone. So as long as they nail those things, I feel like everything kind of flows after that. But I feel like set piece is definitely a big thing.
Yeah. I guess back to the atmosphere of the games here. Like this week, there's believed to be about 60,000 Irish supporters, and
wow.
they're far from home, and we've heard what they can do when they've sung their song, or they sung Zombie after a song, and it's just unreal. And even you play in Dublin, and it's the same thing. Like they just sing and sing and sing. But I guess Guz touched on it a couple of days ago, and he's like, if we do everything right from the start, we can actually take the crowd out of the game and silence them. And that was pretty cool to read, because if they played like they did, they start like they did against Italy. First mistake was 29 minutes into the game, and they just silenced the crowd, and the crowd was, they started singing French songs because it was all the Frenchies just enjoying the game. That's huge coming into this week, the atmosphere and the vibe of the crowd. And I think after the set piece, the importance also of like winning our races and things like that. We know that the Irish are super good are great over the ball, and very fast, and once they're over the ball, they're hard to move. So our boys win our races and are just clinical in that area as well, especially that contact area, and the rest will follow as well. So I'm excited, man, and I just want the kickoff to happen already.
Yeah, man, I've got no interest in work this week. I just want to get to the weekend and get to these games. So give me 4 winners. What do you got? All Blacks are a lock. Who are your other 3?
Yeah, well, obviously All Blacks. I'm gonna go. I feel like France. It's hard to beat them at home, so I'm gonna go France. I'm gonna go Fiji because they need to step up their game. They have to step it up. But it'd just be cool to see them make a semi-final. And Wales, Argentina. I would love Argentina to win because I like their style of play, but I feel like the Welsh at the moment have got something special going on. So I'll go Wales.
Oh, yeah, I'll probably go. So I'll definitely go Fiji over England. Come on. I'm going Argie. Argie. Yeah, because my brother Pablo Matera is there.
Cool.
And who's the other one? South Africa. Yeah, I'm going South Africa. I'm going all Southern Hemisphere. Come on.
Oh,
Come on.
I like it.
Turned it into a huge Northern versus Southern Hemisphere battle. Okay, let's go Southern Hemisphere.
As soon as Russie will be tweeting about you, Stace, he'll be into it straight away as soon as he gets a hold of this. But there's a... look... Team, thank you so much. I know there's a little bit of work that goes into putting it all together on every single day, which is going to be an amazing effort. God, it's probably, what is it going to be, like 60 daily shows by the time you get to the end of it, George? Like that is some undertaking. So good on you, man. And it's awesome. Get in there, team. If you haven't got along to the NZR Plus app yet, do it. Tune in. As I said, get a little notification. Watch the daily show every day. It gets buzzed into the inbox, and also there's about 100 hours of content on there. Some really, really good stuff around the World Cup, previous World Cups, etc., etc. So well done, team. Appreciate you giving me a little bit of time this morning. I'll let you go so those irate guests don't start shouting at you in the back again. But good luck to the boys in the weekend. Up the ABs, and thanks for jumping on.
Cool. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us, Rob.
The All Blacks podcast is powered by our official cloud software partner, SAP, helping our teams in black be the best run in sports. Hosted by Rob Dunn in the Hargrave Street studio. Produced by Carl Thompson from Blue and Ginge, the podcast producers. Video editing by Mac Leesburg, graphics by Western Design, content advising from Andy Burt, and commercial manager for the podcast is Valeska Hoth. Follow the All Blacks podcast on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and anywhere you get your podcasts.